Hello, my name is Jacek, just need more info, and today we're gonna talk about cowboys and vampires.
Now the entire country is left unprotected while I stand here with my dick in my hand like an idiot!
Evil West. It's a game that perfectly embodies the spirit of a title that we gamers like to call big dumb.
English verge.
Okay, I do a sciencey thingy with your gauntlet?
Fun. I mean, this game is really big and intense, and there is really nothing subtle about it. And it is also really, really dumb, but in an endearing way.
You lying, sweaty, lecherous, potty-mouthed, flatulent, ugly mustache creep!
You ungrateful swine!
You sure you want to dance that dance?
But most importantly, it is fun as hell. But let's start with the story, and I feel this will be a really short part of this video. Because the story is pretty much non-existent. I mean, there is one, and it includes surprising number of cutscenes with people talking, explaining what is going on. There's also quite a few audio journals that can be found that explain the lore, but let's face it, in a game like this, you really only care about one thing.
I only need to know one thing. Where they are. Anytime, anywhere.
Right.
And that is what pretty much story does in this game. It just explains why at one moment you're punching dudes in a level that looks like this. And then an hour later there is a cutscene that will explain why we'll be now fighting in a completely different environment. Still, I wanted to stress out that I really like the vibe of this game. I mean, cowboys fighting vampires in a steampunk mixed with Wild West setting. What's not to like? I think what the game does with its story and setting is way above the minimum that you have to do to make a title stand out. And basically this is what a story is for me in these types of games, just some added flavor that injects some identity to the whole experience. There is story and dialogue here, but you don't need to pay attention to it if you just want to have fun, but it is there if you are interested. The main attraction of Evil West is definitely the combat. It has some pretty nice heft to it. Punching feels really good, and it's just the beginning, as the game gives you a lot of options and all of them are viable and can be easily mixed with each other. Your main piece of gear is definitely the gauntlet that can cut bodies in half and also electrocute them, leaving them open for a devastating combo. With it you can also do an uppercut and then punch a dude into another dude or an environmental hazard. Later you can even buy an upgrade that make enemies explode upon impact after you punch them. The game ramps up nicely, both when it comes to your character capabilities and the intensity of the combat scenarios. Basically, the game gets crazy in the second half. There are enemies that are introduced in the aerial levels as some mini-bosses, and in the later levels you'll basically be fighting 4 of them at once. Also, did I mention that after a few upgrades your rifle becomes a railgun? Yeah, this game gets crazy. This is a sort of title that gets better as you get familiar with the tools and start to experiment. This is a game that is even more fun a second time around in a new game plus mode, as going back to the aerial levels with all your gear gives you so much freedom in just mopping the floors with those vampires. So yeah, the combat is definitely the main draw here, and it got me hooked right from the start. And then it only became better with every upgrade I unlocked. The mechanics feel very fresh and unlike any other third-person perspective combat-oriented game I played in the last few years. Unfortunately, I can't say that about the level design, which feels really outdated. People say it's like a PS2 game published a little too late, but for me the level design feels worse than any PS2 game I can remember. It feels very rigid and uninspired. All the puzzles are annoyances that I felt were just keeping me from the good stuff, which is of course punching vampires in the face with an electric gauntlet. What frustrated me the most is the way the game handles climbing, jumping down and jumping over obstacles. Basically you can do all those maneuvers only in a specific spots that are very clearly marked, but in some cases it feels really off that you can't jump off some platform if you don't stand in just this one particular spot. Fortunately, for me at least, the action part overcame all those annoyances, but I suspect your mileage may vary. For me, it was just a minor blunder on an otherwise pretty fun and enjoyable experience. Evil West will not win any awards is a phrase I heard in a couple of reviews, and basically I hate that attitude. Why can't a game win an award just for simply being fun to play? Yes, I like games that force me to think, that move me on an emotional level, but at the same time I like Evil West too. Creating a combat system that feels this good is not an easy feat, and it should be recognized just as much as some touching moment in a story-heavy AAA game. Okay, that's the end of my mini rant here. So, should you get Evil West? That, of course, depends. If you're a type of gamer that can enjoy a game simply on the merits of its gameplay, then yeah, you will like it. As I mentioned, the level design is not great, but fighting vampires feels really good and satisfying. If you don't need an involving story to have fun, you can give Evil West a try. People that are more used to story-heavy, mainstream, third-person perspective games like The Last of Us or God of War, or even a Plague Tale, I think it will be a toss-up. You might like it or you might not. I had tons of fans with Evil West, and you know what? People say this game will not win an award, so I will prove that it's not true, and I'm giving this game an award for being an incredibly fun to play title. So yeah, here is my award for cool, satisfying combat system. And that's all in this episode. See ya in the next video, and if you liked it, like it and subscribe maybe? I don't know.